Hey guys, I just sent you that video yesterday about the Top Gun premiere, which was pretty frigging awesome. And then I was just talking to a client I have in Paris, and it's kind of funny. He actually, I think, in working with me, is becoming more creative. And the conversation we had is making me feel more creative. And I wanted to sort of share what he was planning because I think this is highly relevant and useful to you guys, along with what you saw happening at the Top Gun premiere, and that you will see. In every sort of instance of somebody trying to convince people of something that may or may not be true, um, but it's how they do it that gets us sort of caught up in it. And so this client, he's in the process of kind of an agent search, like some of us. And this is something that I told him that probably would benefit him because he's so active in the artistic community. He's always doing plays and he's always helping out with projects of this and that. And he's got nobody out there kind of scanning the breakdowns and things like that for him. So, I'm pretty particular about what you have an agent for and how you rely on them. So I'm trying to be consistent. Don't get the wrong impression that David's suddenly promoting agents all of a sudden. But anyway, what he came up with is he had a couple of ideas. He was like, I guess some friend of his was sort of coming up with ways to submit some writing to a producer. And so my client was like, well, why don't you do this? Deliver an empty bottle with one sheet of paper in it, right? Because we always are trying to follow the rules. It's like, what's the point of following the rules, doing what everybody else is doing? How does that separate us or our project from the herd? Do it in a unique way. Do it like the Top Gun premiere. What are they doing? Everything they did is completely relevant to that movie and getting people interested in going to see it. And everything they said was with 100% enthusiasm. And if you noticed in the video, the word enthusiasm is said over and over and over. If Tom Cruise conveys anything, it's enthusiasm, because either he either instinctually gets it or he consciously gets it. No one can believe in you if you aren't enthusiastic. And if you are enthusiastic, it's highly infectious. Remember that. It has to be there or nobody cares. But anyway, so this guy came up with this idea: submit a bottle, just deliver a bottle with one page. So rather than delivering a script, because, send us your manuscript. Well, no, why? Because you don't know anything about me and you don't have any expectations around the manuscript. If there aren't any expectations, then the person's going into it probably, well, with their own expectations, which is probably that most manuscripts are crap and boring. And God, do I have to read this? I said I would, but I really don't want to. Or maybe that's just me. But look, unsolicited material. Why do you think they don't want unsolicited submissions? They want submissions from people that they have been recommended because that makes them enthusiastic. So submit a bottle with just a one pager, maybe even one line, maybe even just saying, this is a bottle. And I started saying, yeah, why don't you just go to the ninth degree with this? And he's like, oh my gosh, like, what are you talking about? I said, just submit a sheet of paper with nothing on it even, or one line going, this is a bottle, or here's a free bottle for you, or whatever. And you could do it with the knowledge of something that you could research about this person. Like if the person likes bourbon, then send them an empty bourbon bottle, because they'll be like, that's my favorite bourbon, but there's no bourbon in it. Wait, what's this piece of paper? Can somebody get this piece of paper out of this bottle for me? Right? And so he's like loving this. And I said, yeah, once a week you could send them a bottle with a new piece of paper in it and just sort of build up. You don't have to even say anything relevant to the project. It's very, like, get them interested in what's going on, right? They're going to be caught up in this story, sort of like the way they did for when the first Batman came out with Michael Keaton back in, I don't even know when that was, the 80s or something like this. I remember as a kid seeing on the subway, they just had a bat on a billboard in the subway. I was like, what's that? I don't know. What's this bat? And it was brilliant because it made you go, what is going on? And they built and they built and they built, and it was just like Top Gun. By the time the movie came out, you knew everybody wanted to see it. Like, I am going to see Top Gun May 27th if I can, because I know that's the date. And it's because like they created the demand for me to know when's it coming out, and they said May 27th. That's one of the few things I can remember. Like, I got wicked ADD, right? And I can remember May 27th, baby. So anyway, this story was basically, to do the bottle per week or something like that, and you could put anything you want in this bottle. I mean, you could talk about anything you want, but he's gonna wonder. The agent is gonna wonder who is behind this, and I want to know more. And when this person finally sort of shows themselves, I said, it'd be really cool is if you dress up like a UPS delivery driver and you deliver the bottle, so that they have seen you coming and going, but they don't put two and two together until finally they put it all together and like, wait, that's the same delivery driver every time. Is that them? Right? It's going to create this little fun mystery game. And if there's no mystery behind stuff, then who's interested? It's just boring, right? So I just want to say to you guys, stop following what everybody else is doing. Create your own narrative. Create your own story. Like, stop looking for rules. Create the rules. What is the rule for making a movie? Well, it's got to be put on a screen at some point, theoretically. But if you've noticed in Hollywood now, they do screenings in cemeteries. There's 3D. People are trying to make holographic movies. I mean, the movie used to be a play, and somebody said, why does it have to be live every time? That's a lot of work. Why not just make it once and repeat it over and over? I mean, that was kind of the beginning of like internet marketing, right? Digitize it, film it, make copies of it, and you can play it over and over and over and make millions and millions of dollars. Wow, what a great idea. And now how do you get people excited about the movies around the world when they don't see the real people face to face? Well, you create a campaign. So I recommend you guys think about it. Whatever it is you're trying to accomplish, create a campaign around it and do it with full creativity and do it with full enthusiasm. Because honestly, if you're enthusiastic, it's completely infectious. People will be enthusiastic about you. If you see people jumping up and down on the street, you're like, what's going on over there? I want to be involved in that. Or the opposite. If it looks scary, you're like, let's get away from that. But you can tell when people are committed to something. It's, you want to be involved, or if you see a crowd of people, you're like, what's going on over there? It's infectious, the whole idea of others creating a narrative and sucking you into it. It happens to us all the time. And not only does it get people excited, but how they actually see you when they do meet you will be in a far more positive light because they're already convinced. Like, I'm going into Top Gun thinking it's the greatest movie in I don't know how long. And it's going to totally cloud my judgment of the movie. Like, I'm totally going to be open and not noticing the mistakes and just loving the scenes and, oh yeah, oh that's the scene they were talking about. Oh yeah, like I'm going to be like in love with this movie because, it's my kind of movie for one thing, because I'm definitely was a fan of the first one. But they've done such a good job with so many people with the exact sort of level of enthusiasm. So how could it not be good when so many other people that I have respect for, or at least have some familiarity with, say it is? Okay? So think about that going forward with what you're doing, right? Don't bore them with the reality of, here's my script, here's my demo reel. That's why you don't give them the demo reel. That's why you don't give them the pictures. You create story and hype around yourself, and they will buy in hook, line, and sinker. But the second you show them the movie without any of that, you show them the reel without any of that, then they're going to see it from the way they were thinking before, which for the most part is unsolicited material. Blech. Not very exciting, not very good. You mean nobody recommended? Why do you think people want recommendations, want references, referrals? Because they're like, well, if you liked it, maybe I'll like it. But person random submitting their own stuff, Oh gosh, here we go. Because their experience with that is probably not that great. So if you can hype it up to where they think that you are good and talented, and even better, if you can get third party validation, it doesn't have to be real. I told my client in Paris, feel free to lie your butt off. Like, put a quotation, since this is a campaign, do some mock quotations of people like the president of France, Pierre Macron, says Tariq Jalal is the best actor our country has ever produced. Who cares? Like, really, who cares? Do you think anyone is going to hold you to any of this? Tom Cruise says, "I, if it wasn't for me, Top Gun would have never been made." Like, why not? Who cares? We're trying to create excitement and enthusiasm. Of course, the reality is never going to live up to it. The movie will never live up to the hype, but it gets you to go to the movie. And if it was half decent, you feel like, yeah, it was a good time spent with my 2 hours. But if you can create enthusiasm within people, then they will also, because they will become infected with it, they will share that enthusiasm with others. And if you're not getting the response, like, really, you need an agent to be in love with you, because if they're in love with you, if they adore you, then they will be so much more patient for a lack of results than they will if they're just kind of like, all right, I'll give you a shot. Then they're just, if results don't come right away, they're going to want to drop you right away. Okay, so think about all the human psychology behind this stuff, and have fun with it. Bring all of your creativity to it so that you get people in the best frame of mind for what you have to offer, and you're having the best time with it, because if you're having fun, people will see that and they will want to be a part of your fun. Okay, guys, that's it for now. Talk to you soon.